Welcome back to PRN Test Drive. I'm James, and this week I've been driving the all-new 2026 Hyundai Palisade XRT Pro. Hyundai have taken its pretty popular three-row family-size SUV and made it into kind of an off-road machine. Now, the XRT Pro doesn't just look the part of an off-road SUV, it kind of has some features that enable it to also play the part. It's got a 1-inch suspension lift, it's got red recovery hooks both in the front and in the back. You also get 18-inch all-season tires. Of course, it comes in all-wheel drive, and it even has some off-road software on the interior to kind of help you get a better picture of what's going on while you're on the trail. Additionally, it has a rear electronically controlled limited slip differential, which is always nice to see in any vehicle that wants to be an off-road machine. Now, while it isn't as hardcore as some of the truly off-road vehicles, because you don't get things like locking differentials or a metal skid plate, but I think if the XRT Pro is popular enough, I expect Hyundai to potentially add things like that. And although I have not been able to take it off-road during my week with it, that honestly doesn't matter because I look at the XRT Pro as an excellent winter machine. Despite not having any snow to test it in, it's got that 1-inch lift, it's got the recovery points. You know, it has things that in the changing weather that I'm about to experience in a couple of months, it feels like war in the winter here in Quebec. And let me tell you, having a vehicle that's sort of capable of some off-road things makes a huge difference. So I think we will see a lot of these XRT Pros here in Quebec. So I'm gonna tell you everything you need to know in case you're in the market for a Palisade XRT Pro. Let's get this thing on the road, but first, let me give you some of the finer details. So under the hood for the 2026 Hyundai Palisade XRT Pro, you'll find a 3.5-liter V6 engine producing 287 horsepower, 260 pound-feet of torque. So I do like seeing the V6 make a return here. It is a very welcome thing, although this is not the hybrid trim, so we are going to miss a little bit of power compared to obviously something with a battery, but I still think these numbers are decent. It also comes paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. It has the H-Track all-wheel drive, and it's capable of towing up to 5,000 pounds. All right, so on the road, 2026 Hyundai Palisade XRT Pro. It is the end of the week here, and I have spent all of my time doing all of the errands possible, all of the things that, you know, you would do with your family. I've put my daughter and my wife in here, and it has just been easy, just like it was in the Santa Fe. A lot of these Hyundai three-row SUVs are easy to live with. I think the hybrid would probably be a lot easier to live with just because I could go so much further on a single tank of gas, but still, this thing has just been simple. I drive it, I know what to do with it, like there's no complications at all, and that's something you really like, you know, because your family's probably hectic if you have enough kids or people to fit in this vehicle to really fill it up. So, you know, you don't really want to stress about driving your vehicle, and Hyundai really takes that to the next level. Plus, the XRT Pro doesn't just play the part of a off-road SUV, it actually has some action to it, right? It doesn't just look like it can do it, it can sort of actually do it. It also has a sport mode too, which is really cool. I'll put it in sport mode here, and we'll give it some beams. Let's check out some driving. So a little bit of turbo lag. There's been moments this week where I've noticed a lot more than that actually, but most of the time I'm either in my mode, which I just have the engine in normal and the steering in sport, or I'm in eco mode because I'm trying to save fuel, right? And that's pretty much, I think, what a lot of people are going to end up driving in, and it's completely fine. But you do also have some terrain modes. You have a snow, mud, and sand mode as well. So all that stuff, again, wherever you find yourself, you're going to be able to handle it. And I really like the fact that it has a dedicated snow mode because, like I said at the beginning, I think this vehicle is going to be really good for winter driving specifically. So that is a huge plus to me. Also mud, because the roads actually get kind of muddy here in the winter and pretty disgusting really fast. So having different modes to kind of change through and change the all-wheel drive behavior is super important to me. And that limited slip differential out the rear is going to help quite a bit as well. In terms of handling and stuff like that, well, it's not the most pointed vehicle in the world. Obviously, there's a ton of body roll, you know, but I don't dislike it because it's kind of hard to dislike something like that because it's a family vehicle, right? Like, you're not absolutely running an autocross in this thing. You're not doing any of that. It's literally to hockey practice and back, or in my case, to my daughter's gymnastics and back, and then later on in the day to swimming and back. Like it's very, very simple. Like I'm on the highway just cruising, I've got my wife in the back, and whoever else wants to come along with us, they absolutely fit in here. And that's kind of the thing. I don't need it to handle exceptionally well. It picks up well enough that I can pass slower traffic. Like none of that is an issue. Ride quality is also really good. I find the ride quality in the Palisade slightly better than something like the Santa Fe, but they are very close. To really determine the winner, I'd have to drive both of them back to back to really give you like this one is absolutely more comfortable. But like it's a smooth ride through and through. I'm hoping that the suspension lift kind of aids that, but I don't think so. But still, it rides very smoothly. Visibility is also very good. Nice and big mirrors. It doesn't have a digital rear view camera. If you want that, you're going to have to upgrade to the calligraphy. There's a few things we'll go over that you have to upgrade to the calligraphy for. But again, on the XRT Pro, it has been very, very well equipped. So let's go right onto the interior, because I think that's where the XRT Pro kind of shines, right? Because it drives very well, and although I have these really cool off-road pages, I can't really use them because I don't do any off-roading. But again, this would be something that's sort of useful in like some heavy snowfall in the winter, if you can't really see the road, to kind of see what's going on with your vehicle and just kind of monitor things a little closely. I know I like to do that because, sometimes in the winter when it's blowing, I know I did a Volkswagen Atlas video last year, and it was during a snowstorm. In those conditions, I really want to know everything that's going on with my vehicle at all times, right? So it's one of those things where I'm very, very nervous about it. So anyways, let's get on to the interior. So starting with the seat, my driver's seat is power operated. I've got 2 memory seat settings. So does the passenger. The seats are heated and ventilated, which is very cool. I thought it would be a feature you'd have to update to the calligraphy for, which usually that is the case. But in this case, no, you do not have to. You have it here on the XRTs, which I find that very impressive. We've also got heated steering, which is always a must-have, especially here in Quebec. And even now, approaching the fall, I have used this heated steering and these heated seats quite a bit. Now, what I don't have for the seat-wise is I don't have that little recliner or that little leg extension that you can get on the calligraphy trim. But honestly, I never really used it, and my passenger never really used that either, so it's not a feature that I find myself actually missing that much. The steering wheel is also very nice. It's pretty much the same one you find on the Santa Fe. It's got physical controls for both audio controls, and you've also got physical controls for the cruise control, and the lane center assist button is right there, and it is just dead center. This lane center, you can almost take your hands fully off the wheel, and it just keeps this 3-row SUV dead center in the lane. It's very, very nice. You're not supposed to take your hands off, but you can get away with it in some portions, and it's just very nice to have, especially on those longer trips. I think it's going to be really, really useful. We do have some paddle shifters, so again, if you do find yourself in the off-road situation, you'd like to control your gears yourself, well, you can actually do that, so that's perfectly fine. Me, I probably am never going to use that. I think the 8-speed automatic transmission is plenty and does a great job for an SUV like this. You also have a digital gauge cluster, very nice. It has a couple of different themes and stuff like that, and it will change the look based on the drive mode that you're in, but that's pretty much it. It shows you the basic Hyundai information, and you really don't need much more than that. One thing that does impress me though is I have my turn signal on here, is I actually have that little blind spot camera. Again, another feature I thought we'd have to upgrade to the calligraphy to get, but alas, here we go. I've got it here on my XRT. Very impressive by Hyundai. These are things that usually when I take the lower trims of Hyundai and I don't get to calligraphy, I'm like, I expect to miss these things like ventilated seats, like the blind spot camera, but here we are, I still have them. I also like how the infotainment display and the gauge cluster is kind of tilted toward the driver, and it's very integrated into the dash. It looks very good. It looks like a driver-oriented cockpit, which I do tend to prefer. Infotainment-wise, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless for both, but you do have built-in navigation. Like I said, you do have that off-road thing, and you also have a 360-degree camera, and you even have this little camera in the off-road page where if you're going slow enough, I think right now I'm going too fast, if you're going slow enough, it will actually display the terrain, like, so it'll like kind of cut out the body of the vehicle and just show the two left and right wheels, and you can see them moving in real time. And I think it's really cool. And you also have an elevation compass and different things like that, so you can really get a feel for your terrain and your surroundings. If obviously you're going slow enough. It doesn't work. I'm currently going 45 kilometers, so obviously that's not going to be on. But the cameras are high quality, and that's very important. I've never felt myself being like, oh my god, I might as well use my, I might as well look out the mirror myself. Obviously you have to use your mirrors, but you know what I mean. Some of these new vehicle cameras look like Nokia phones, and I can't stand it. And Hyundai, thankfully, is not one of them. Now, we do have a good range of physical buttons as well. I like that. They're quick access buttons because the HVAC is kind of like these touch buttons. So if I want to turn on my heated seat, it's kind of right there. It does work. I've never misclicking it or doing anything. It's tri-zone automatic climate control because I do have a zone in the rear that's controlled, which is very nice. Again, something I did not expect on the XRT trim, but very happy that it's here. But yeah, these these touch button controls are okay because they always work. I mean, so far in a lot of the Hyundai vehicles I've done, they've always worked. Now, this center console area is good, but like a little weird. I'll start with the weird, right? Because it's got like this hard plastic area right here where I'm like banging my arm on it constantly because I want to drive in this position right here, but I'm constantly have my elbow on like this really hard surface, and it's just not comfortable at all. So I just wish that in the future they'd pad this a little more. And then it's a weird angle for the storage, but it is there. You do have a wireless charging pad, and you have 2 cup holders, and you have 3 USB-C ports. It's all USB-C ports absolutely everywhere in here, and 100-watt max USB-C ports as well. Very nice. You have some storage underneath as well. I like that. I also like the little XRT badge on the interior here, and it's got some decent looking ambient lighting. Now, last but not least, let's touch on the rear. The XRT comes with the captain's chairs, which are heated, not ventilated, but heated. Very nice. I have tons of room back there, tons of room, exactly what you'd expect from a 3-row SUV like this. And yeah, it's just been, that's one of the things that's made it so simple for me this week, is having all of that room to just do whatever I need to do. Fold the seats down, take them up. Costco run, I can fold the 3rd row back, no problem. Now, I do fit in the 3rd row, sort of. It's one of those things where it's like I wouldn't want to because I'd be extremely uncomfortable for the whole time, but I do fit. And I think I actually fit back there a little better in the Palisade than I did in the Santa Fe. The Santa Fe has a little bit of a less spacious 3rd row, I think. So I think the Palisade is the bigger vehicle, or at least that's the way it feels to me. So yeah, backseat, the controls for the climate are actually on the roof. Very cool. If you get the calligraphy, you will get like a glass roof or a glass sunroof. In this one, you just get the standard one up here. Honestly, I don't really mind that. I do like that there is one at least, but I don't care that we don't have like, this huge sunroof, this huge piece of glass. Really doesn't make the difference, and it kind of adds to the rugged look. I'm not expecting my rugged, off-road oriented SUV to have all this glass. So yeah, overall, interior-wise, this thing is surprisingly well equipped for the money and for the trim. There is some things that I thought that I would have to wait for in terms of the calligraphy trim. The only thing that sucks is we don't have the really cool dash cam feature. That's one of those features that I really want to see on all trims, and Hyundai, I think if there's a big popular demand for it, they probably will bring it, but unfortunately I didn't get to play with it. Hopefully one of us on PRN here can check out that, so that way we can see how that thing works in action, because that thing is really cool and I really want to see it. But we will see it eventually, I'm sure. All right, so let's really quickly touch on the exterior for the XRT Pro of the Palisade. I already mentioned the suspension lift. I actually think it looks really good, a little lifted. You also get really nice daytime running LEDs with that light bar. You can see that the front end looks a little rugged, and also this kind of matte brown paint color that I have on here just adds to the overall ruggedness. This is a vehicle spec that looks good, clean, and kind of dirty. So you can take it on the road, you can dust it up. I even think it would look pretty decent in the winter as well, with all of this salt scum that come here in Canada. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can see here we do have those red recovery points. They look really good, and again, add to the overall rugged look of it. I do have a 360-degree camera, and I do have parking sensors on this XRT Pro. Over onto the side profile, you're gonna notice these really nice XRT rims, 18-inch, all-terrain tires that come standard for the XRT Pro. I do like the side profile. It reminds me a little bit of the Santa Fe, and that's okay because I really like the Santa Fe as well. We also have the nice roof rails right there. The back window is nicely tinted, and you've kind of got this black plastic that goes all the way along, and it's got another XRT badge right in there. And you know me, I love my badges. Moving on to the rear, you do have kind of the stacked taillight look to it. They are a little low for my taste. Hyundai tends to keep doing that for some reason on the SUVs. It still does look good, and that's where you'll find your other set of red recovery hooks. You'll also find another XRT Pro badge in the back. So there's no lack of badging here, at least for my taste, in the Palisade XRT Pro. I do like the look of it overall. In terms of trunk space, you have a ton. Whether you're gonna fold the third row down or keep it up, I've found it to be perfectly fine for my needs this week, absolutely no issue. And it's an automatic opening and closing tailgate, so hard to complain. This Palisade XRT Pro is surprisingly well equipped. I mean, I am very, very happy with the look and the overall equipment here. Just Hyundai have really done a good job this time. But of course, I want to know what you think. What do you think about the exterior, the spec? How do you feel about the color and just the overall looks of a Palisade that, you know, very much wants to be included in the conversation of fully off-road SUVs? All right, so to wrap everything up on my thoughts of the Palisade XRT Pro, I think that this is the trim to go with if you don't want the base model and you want something that's relatively well equipped. I do really like all the equipment here. It is impressive. Again, I keep saying it all video. I probably said it 10 times already, but I really expected to not have as many features as this does. I expected to have to tell you, well, if you want these things, you gotta go up to the calligraphy trim. But I've got like heated seats, ventilated seats, heated steering. You know, I've got the blind spot camera. There's so many things here that are just, you know, things that I wouldn't expect to have, but I'm so glad they're here. And I hope other companies take notice of that. You know, give us more value, give us more stuff that we can use, you know, and just make the bang for the buck better. And I think we'll see a lot of these vehicles on the road shortly. I really think that it's going to be popular soon once they start to roll it out. I mean, the Santa Fe, you see them everywhere, but I do think that what will steal the game and steal the show is going to be that hybrid system of the Palisade. That thing is going to run away with it. I think just seeing it and living with the hybrid version of the Santa Fe, imagining this thing as a hybrid would be an absolute home run for Hyundai, and they're absolutely going to do it, because if they didn't, it'd be leaving money on the table. But when it comes to the XRT Pro, even if you don't off-road it and you live in like a harsher climate like I do, you know, and you know 6 months out of the year it's, you know, absolutely terrible, it's war, I think you're getting your money's worth here, because it's just good to have something a little bit more capable and a little bit more rugged when you're dealing with, you know, all kinds of changing weather, black ice, you know, just hail, randomly hail in the middle of January, 30 centimeters of snow just in 24 hours. You know, you want a vehicle that's going to be able to do it and stand it. And, you know, maybe you don't want to spend that much on like a fully fledged like off-road truck or something like that. And so Hyundai's kind of solved that little gap in the market. They've placed this XRT Pro, and I think it's a perfect spot for it. It's very easy to use with your family. You know, it gets up, it goes decently well. You know, there's really hard things to complain about it. I wish it had the dash cam. I think that's a feature that should be on all Hyundais across the board. I really do think it's important. It would just be nice not to have to buy your own dash cam all the time. You know, you just have it built into your vehicle, and that way you're protected like even more, and you can show your insurance, hey, this moron ran 8 stop signs and T-boned me. What did you want me to do? You know, I think that's a great feature, and I hope Hyundai brings it to all trims. But that's going to do it for my thoughts. I want to know what you think. What do you think of the trim? What do you think of the space, the interior? I want to know absolutely everything. And if you're in the market, are you seriously considering this? That it, you know, the fact that it has a little bit of off-roady stuff, right? It doesn't have the skid plates or the locking differentials, but who knows? That could be something that comes in the future, and this could just be a starting point of Hyundai seeing, like, are people actually interested in this? Do they want this from us? This is a great place to start, but I want to hear your thoughts. Tell me everything. If you have any questions or anything like that, I usually try to read the comments here, and if there's any direct questions or things you want to know or things I haven't explained properly, please put it in the comments. I will gladly get back to you as soon as I can. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one. I will see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.